first-time demolition derby drivers and people that actually want to try the sport for the first time are asking me, like, what tools should I buy? What should I have to get into the sport? And realistically, there is like a small amount of mandatory tools to do this. I don't think I could even build a bone stock car without some of these tools. So the first item that you need is a car, or truck or van. But realistically, I find small cars are a lot cheaper than large cars. So if you buy a car, usually you're paying anywhere from about $50 to $500. So I find the best way to do it is to drive around your local neighborhood, find a car with no license plates, flat tires, or body damage, and you can usually get it for pretty cheap. The other thing that is mandatory is a helmet. Now, a lot of people can get helmets very easily. I just got a brand new one for Christmas, and I think Cassandra paid $150 for it. But I have a 5XL head, so I kind of need to spend a little bit more on a bigger helmet. The next mandatory thing is a place to work on the car. If you have an apartment building, it's going to be very hard for you to work on the car. So make sure you know where you can work on the car. At a friend's house, at a grandparent's house. I know a couple people that do that. Just make sure that you can work on the car somewhere without getting the cops called, the township called, it getting towed away, or something like that. And the last thing is you need a way to get your vehicle to the demolition derby and away from the demolition derby. So a lot of people I know actually don't have vehicles to tow their vehicles to a demolition derby. What some people do is they'll set something up with a tow truck company that after they're done, the tow truck gets the car for free. You just remove all your stuff at the demolition derby. Or just something like that. You never know. So those are the things I think are mandatory to become part of the demolition derby world that you want to join. The next thing is small hand tools like screwdrivers, wrenches, stuff like that. Like, I buy most of my stuff at farm auctions, so I get them for pretty cheap. But realistically, Canadian Tire, Princess Auto, Harbor Freight for you American buddies. Screwdrivers are cheap. Wrenches, socket sets are like $90 if you get them on sale. You can get mini grinders. I think mini grinders are mandatory. Mini grinders, cheap ones from like $29 all the way up to $300 depending on what you want to buy. Drills. You can buy drills for $5 sometimes used at garage sales. But you do need drills. Step bits. I couldn't build a car without step bits. Every hole I drill is basically with a step bit. Sawzall I find is a lot more handy when you're at the demolition derby, and I don't use them too much at home, but at the derby when I quickly want to cut through something like that. A jack to jack the car up and down. I think you can get away with using the factory jacks that come with the vehicles, but realistically you're going to want a good stable 3-ton jack basically, or a light aluminum one that you can carry around. Vice grips. I use a lot of vice grips. I really like vice grips. I only buy brand name vice grips. I don't buy job made vice grips. Battery cables. I find a good set's always good because when you're buying the cars you can boost them, or at the track a lot of times batteries die. Or if you get really upset you can cut them apart and tuck them into a battery cable to actually connect your battery to your motor. Marine tank. For a gas tank, obviously. Fuel pump for fuel injected. You can kind of get away with using the stock one, but the stuff like that. And the last thing that I think is kind of mandatory is a measuring tape. I don't use them very often. I just kind of eyeball a lot of stuff, but I should use them more often, realistically. But to build cars like this one is a lot different than building a bone stock car. So when it comes to something like this, you're going to want a lot of other stuff. You're going to want torches, you're going to want welders, plasma cutters, tire machines, come-alongs. I have a winch on my trailer. I think I couldn't do this without a winch to bring stuff on my trailer. Impacts. I hate turning ratchets. I love impacts. Generators. I have a small generator that is easy to lift that I bring to some of the demolition derbies so I can run mini grinders, sawzalls, all that fun stuff. And then portable welders. My father's got a portable welder, and I have borrowed it for two of the bigger shows I've gone to in the past. And then you got like 3/4 inch driver sets to take out axles. I got pry bars, sludge hammers. I got blocks of wood to make sure everything's safe. I got axle stands. The list can go on forever. But realistically, the stuff that you mandatory need is just like a drill, mini grinders, sludge hammer, sawzall, jacks, socket sets, marine tanks, fuel pumps, a shot vac to clean up the interior, a couple X-Acto knives to help cut out the interior. Like, you really don't need a lot to do a bone stock car. Just make sure you do it safely and try to do it as cheaply as possible. For your first one, you don't want to go out and buy a hoist or a portable generator or anything like that. You can get away without running any of that stuff for 2 or 3 years. You make sure you like the hobby. Make sure that you can handle the hobby before you invest a lot of money into this hobby where you gotta produce. I really like this hobby. Before this, when I was in high school, I was into lowrider trucks, and I'm still kind of into lowrider trucks. And then I kind of got out of that and got into heavy four-wheel drive stuff, so I had a lot of this tools left when I was doing that, right? Like, I was doing solid axle swaps, I was doing leaf over swaps, I was doing motor swaps like crazy in my off-road trucks. And then I just got away from that and got into this because I find it so much funner to hit people. Realistically, hitting people is so fun, and yes, you can get hurt, and there is stuff to get hurt, but you know what? Take your time, do your due diligence, make sure you're safe inside the car, and I think that anybody that wants to try this is a very easy sport to get into and very easy sport to try. Just make sure you check out your rules. You don't want to start your first demolition derby at a full weld show where it is the end of the year and all the top guys come there. Like, for me, there's 2 end of the year shows that are very popular. One is Fall Brawl and one is Rockton. And they are very, very hard shows to win. And they're very hard shows to run. For a first-time driver, I would make sure that it's like more of a stock class where nobody does giant bumper swaps, motor swaps, axle swaps. And just plan ahead. You don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. So, realistically, guys, I think anybody can do this sport. And all you have to do is just put some time in. And my first derby car I did when I was 17, I brought it to a bone stock show. And it was I think it was like a 92 Cutlass front-wheel drive V6, and I traded 2 cases of beer for it, 2 cases of Carling beer, which was kind of funny, but it took me 4.5 months to build the car, and realistically, the show that it went to, I built a car to go there last year in 4 hours. So give yourself lots of time. It's all a trial experience. Try something, learn something, do something. Today's day and age, people just don't get out and try stuff. Just get out there and enjoy yourself. Have fun. What's the worst that's going to happen? You get hurt. You'll heal. Put padding in there. Wear knee pads. Wear elbow pads. Wear neck braces. Just try it. Have fun. I honestly love this sport, and I wouldn't change it for anything else.